back here?
I had to get contacts just for that reason.
I couldn't stand to have anything on my eyeball. Well, whose big idea was have a meeting at 10 o'clock in the morning?
Hey, we're live.
I'm just trying to pay bills. All right, thank you, everybody. And in lieu of Tony's question or comment, thank you guys for being able to make this meeting at 10 o'clock on a Friday morning. I know we had to reschedule because of the weather, but I appreciate you guys' flexibility, that's for sure. Anyway, what I'd like to do is get started by calling to order the Lawrenceburg Board of Works meeting for February the 18th, correct? 18th? 19th. 2021 with a roll call, please.
Sure. Board member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Board member Tommy Roulette.
Present.
City Attorney Dale Weldon.
Here.
Utility Director Billy Kennett.
Here.
President Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, I don't have any announcements for this meeting. Do you, either one of you?
The only announcement I'd like to make, Mayor, is thanking all the city workers for the job well done this week.
kidding.
That's what I was gonna do. Good job.
Yeah, I was texting back and forth with Brad throughout the whole ordeal, and you know, I think it was last Saturday, him and I were even texting, and he came up with a really good idea of trying to staff around the clock. That way people would get proper sleep and things like that, and it worked out well. My gauge is Mr. Gailey over at the schools. When Mr. Gailey's happy with the way our roads are, then I know that we've done a really good job. And Mr. Gailey actually called me yesterday and said, hey, please tell Brad and his team that did another great job. Quite honestly, if he has to shut down school around here, it's usually because of roads beyond the city limits. It's not the city of Lawrenceburg. So, no, they've done a really nice job, and you know, and I'll bring this up too, and that's a good comment, Tommy. But our first responders, I know we're busy, you know, 24/7. So we can't say enough about them as well.
Well, I do know a group that wasn't happy.
Who, you?
No, the kids.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Because they didn't go to school.
Well, true. All right. If no other announcements, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting, which would have been on February the 1st.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then also I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from February the 8th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New business, I have one item today, and it wasn't on your sheet because it didn't make it in time, and that I'll take the blame for that. This is in regards to, in light of Mr. Richardson being moved, he got the position down at the community center. We have an opening at the clerk treasurer's office, and we really thought that it's the right timing to post this as an accountant to help out over there. Brittany is the only accountant that we have, I believe, Mark.
That's correct, yes.
And she obviously is really taxed with work. And we looked at the financial piece of it. We're utilizing some outside accounting agency we're paying a lot of money to on an hourly rate. So we looked at the difference in the salaries that we would do for this job and compared to what we were paying Mr. Richardson. And then on top of that, what we're paying to an outside accounting firm. So it's actually going to be a cost savings by hiring an accountant over there. I believe Ms. Felix had sent out the job description to the Board of Works. And this is going to be a non-union position. So what I'm asking for today is the authority to have Ms. Felix get this job posted. It'll be an external post. And then, we'll post it for 2 weeks. And then, try to get somebody, start interviewing, and we'll put together a team, probably made up of mostly people over with clerk treasurer and stuff, but, anyway, any questions from you guys?
Have none, Mayor.
I have none.
Okay. If not, then I'd entertain a motion to, give HR the, authority to post a position for, clerk treasurer, staff accountant position, I believe is what we're calling it. It's called staff accountant position.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And just to highlight, I mean, because we're, this is not adding a head count. This is just replacing head count.
Correct.
So,
Well, I mean, this is a new hire, but it's a money saver also.
yeah, it will be, because we're having to utilize an outside accounting firm that's not cheap to do
Cheap.
when you outsource that. Okay, thanks,
Anything
guys.
to help Mr. Fetty.
Thanks, guys.
It's
Appreciate
all
it.
about Mr. Fetty. It's all about Mr. Fetty.
That's
right?
right.
Fetty
That's
does
right.
sign-
I like that.
Yeah, he
Fetty
does
does
like
sign the
that,
check.
doesn't he? Uh-huh, I hear you. All right, that's all the new business, and I have no old business for Board of Works. You guys have anything you want to add?
I have nothing.
If not, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second,
Second?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries, and I need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Next meeting I want to call to order is the City of Lawrenceburg Utility Board meeting for February the 19th, 2021. Roll call, Mr. Fetty.
Board Member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Board Member Justin Knopper.
Yes, sir.
Board Member Tommy Roulette.
Present.
Board Member Lenny Fryman.
Here?
Board Member Brett Bondurant.
Yes, sir.
City Attorney Dale Weldon.
Here.
Utility Director Billy Kennett.
Here.
President Kelly Malone.
Here.
And myself.
Okay. All right, Mr. Kennett, you got any announcements for this meeting?
Just a couple of things, with the bad weather we had, we didn't have any outages. So
Thank goodness.
that speaks of our system and the tree trimming and,
Squirrels, it was too cold for
Yeah,
squirrels to
squirrels,
be traveling
yeah.
around.
yeah. We did not do meter testing this week because we just couldn't be productive fighting through all the snow. So we put a halt on the meter testing this week. We'll get started back with it next week. We had a meeting with Empa's transmission guru yesterday over at Greendale, and they are complete with the Greendale sub renovations that they've done. So they've done a lot to the transmission lines coming into Greendale sub, and they have rebuilt that whole structure within Greendale sub and added some SCADA-based, computer-based automatic reclosers. They've done a lot of work there that will significantly help our reliability, and makes me feel better, that everything that they've done. They've spent $5.3 million on that project, and they realized that this has been an issue for years in this area. So, that should help out a lot, and we're grateful to Empa for the work that they did there. It was a little bit of growing pains as they went through it. It was an odd project because usually you don't rebuild a substation live like that, and it creates some really inherent problems. But we got through it. They had some problems, some hiccups along the way, but we got through it all.
So did that substation directly impact us as well if they had issues?
Yeah, that's, so there's two 138 kV feeds that come into Greendale sub, and then out of that sub, there's two transformers, and it feeds Greendale's different subs, and then it also feeds our different subs. So that's kind of the focal point of everything that happens in our system. There's another feed that comes in out of Wilmington that comes in a hot as well. But for the most part, Greendale sub is our trigger point for everything. That's our normal point of fees, that Greendale sub. So that'll help out a lot. One of the other things that's coming up, we have a power supply agreement with Empa, and we'll be setting up a session to go through that with you. What they're asking for is an extension of that agreement. It's a 5-year extension to take it out to 30 years. It was a long-term contract that was set up from back in the 80s. And so we'll set up a work, I believe it's a work session, right, Dale?
Yes, sir.
To present that and go through that. So that'll be coming up here in the near future. That's all I have.
Thank goodness we don't have Texas.
Yeah.
Yes, we were just discussing that. Wow.
Thank you. Okay, no other announcements. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. One thing I will mention, and Billy and I talked about, he's gonna give an update on the new budget, I think, at the retreat.
Yes.
Yeah. So you'll get an outline of that and things like that. One of the first times we really
Seen a budget.
budgeted
We're moving forward.
from utility board, so that's good. Yeah, that's progress. That's good progress, okay. All right, new business, Mr. Fetty, outstanding check write-off.
Yeah, just same thing we did with the city, I think it was about a month ago. Same thing we have to do with the utilities, any checks that are written on that account that are over 2 years old. By state statute, we have to write those off, so I'm just wanting to get permission to be able to write those checks off.
Okay. Any questions, guys? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve Mr. Fetty's request for writing off this outstanding check. I think it's, what, 2 years old? It's totals $3,670.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any other new business or old business, Mr. Kennett?
No, sir.
If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next meeting I'd like to call to order the City of Lawrenceburg Common Council meeting for February 19th, 2021. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Mr. Fetty, can I get a roll call for this meeting?
Yes, Councilperson Tony Abbott.
Here.
Councilperson Justin Noppert.
Sir.
Councilperson Tommy Roulette.
Present.
Councilperson Lenny Fryman. Present. Councilperson Brett Bondurant.
Yes, sir.
City Attorney Dale Weldon.
Here.
Utility Director Billy Kennett.
Here.
Mayor Kelly Malone.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, announcements, board reports, streets, alleys, and curbs for the downtown, Mr. Abbott.
No report, everything's fine.
All righty. Streets, alleys, and curbs for up on the hill, Mr. Fryman.
All good.
Okay. Mr. Fryman's been going by and plowing everybody's driveways and streets and.
He's a nice guy.
He seemed to miss my street, or
Yeah.
my driveway. I don't understand that.
Well, I tore
That's okay.
I
It's
tore my
okay.
truck up.
It's okay, Manny.
We got that.
Mr.
Well,
Abbott
That's
missed
why,
mine, so.
that's why Mr. Fryman doesn't work for the city of Lawrenceburg. He tore his truck up.
Made it to Bodie and then pooped out.
That's right, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Finance, Mr. Bondurant.
No report, Mayor.
All right. Parks and Playgrounds, Mr. Noppert.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to comment on the community center.
Yeah.
I've been down there, talked to Mr. Richardson several times this week, and I just want to commend him on just a good start, and we all know there's a lot to do down there, and we got a lot of ideas. I think we're moving in the right direction. I'm excited to see the change that's happening. One specific thing I think that we can discuss in just want to bring it up now just to open the discussion is currently the admittance age for someone without an adult or an older sibling, I think is officially 12. And is that right,
I believe that's right.
Mr. Richardson?
That's right.
Yeah, I can step out.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, if you want to pop out, just kind of share a little bit what we talked about.
No, we don't want to come to you and nitpick you for every little decision that we want to make over there, but we do want to have your involvement and make sure that your will is taken into consideration. So currently, the admittance to get into the community center is 12 years of age without any sort of a supervisor with you. What we would personally like to do is lower that to age 10 to be allowed to have admittance into the center. I did a little bit of research, and I looked at several different community centers throughout the state of Indiana and then throughout the country. And to be quite honest with you, the age range is pretty wide. So there were some that were as young as 7, and there were others that were as old as 16. I think a lot of it depended upon what activities were available at the community center. But for us, what we have available, and I think what we plan to have available at the community center, we'd like that age to be 10 if nobody has any issue with it. But we would like your input, if you think it's too young or you think it's too old.
I'm not sure anymore.
I was advised that at the pool, it's 8 years old.
8.
Now, I think the difference might be there that you've got definitely an enclosed space. So once you're in the pool, you have a definite point of contact when you walk in. The community center is a little bit different, and we're going to come back to you with some different ideas on how to alleviate this issue. But one of the issues at the community center is there's no real point of contact. When you walk in the door, you're in the facility. There's an obvious greeting area to your left-hand side, but you'd have to walk over to that desk. Eventually at some point, just keep this in the back of your hat. It would be nice to have a real point of contact at the community center so that when you walk in, you're forced to be greeted by somebody before you actually get into the larger areas. And I think that would be a safety concern overall as well.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Richardson? Do kids nowadays, at the age of 12, are they required to have some kind of a paper signed by a parent or guardian? I know when we have new members, we have them sign
Yes.
a waiver or something.
Everybody that comes into the center now has to sign a waiver. So there's an adult waiver, and then there's another waiver that is available for children that are under the age of 18. So they're supposed to have a waiver on file, which would have been signed by a responsible adult. So that's another safety measure as well. That waiver of liability has been signed by a parent before that child actually has access to the facility.
But I'm sure, and it sounds like you're going to take a look at changing all this because of
Yes.
safety reasons and everything
Yes.
else. We don't want anyone entering the facility, especially if they're a minor, without that on file.
Correct.
Because we got to have that, because, a child 10 years old could walk right out of the facility and we not know it. And, and then we got some liability to that. So good, I'm glad you're looking at all that. And
Yeah, we are, and there's a lot of changes that can be made. There's a lot of, if you've been in the community center, and I'm sure most of you have, most of the community has, there's a lot of paper down there. So we want to figure out a way to do away with that paper, make it more accessible to the people so that when they walk in, it's more of a quick access. I don't want to give too much away, but we are looking at ID cards possibly to have RFDI scanners, readers that you would tap a particular RFDI area, which would be nice if you had that point of contact right when you walked in the door and you could tap that card and then tap it when you leave. We know who's come in, and we know who's went out. We want to do something like that with the workout facility. Right now, we don't really have the analytical information to say, well, so many people use the workout facility for such amount of time. This would give us that information. And that would be the same for the computer lab as well. We'll know who's going into the computer lab, who's going out, how much time they spent in there. Won't know exactly what they did, but just having that little bit of analytical information would definitely be a big help to do what we want to do for the community.
Hey, at this point in time, what constitutes supervision? What's the age? Is it 17 and older sibling that was with you, or what?
If you had an older sibling, and forgive me, I'm not sure what the age of the older sibling would be. I think if they're over 12, because right now if you're 12 or under,
Yeah.
you would need to be supervised. So I think that the age has been 12 or over, or 13 or over would be constitute a supervisor.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's, and I don't know where the library is on this as well. Does anybody have any idea what the age on the library is? I think just I'd feel comfortable having a little bit more time to kind of understand some of these metrics that are involved and kind of discuss it. Maybe, we could do it in a special meeting, or if we had.
Why don't we let Mr. Richardson take the ball, let him come back to you guys with his recommendations. That gives you guys a chance to
Yeah.
question
Yeah.
if you need to. And I'm sure, as thorough as he is,
Well, I mean, I think this is the point where he's recommending that it go to 10. I think that's where we're at right now. That's why I'm
is that
saying
what
it.
you're doing today?
That is my
Do we have
recommendation.
everything in place to make that happen?
I mean, and I will say this, and this is not to have any issue with what's going on before, but one of the issues is there's been a lack of consistency at the center.
Okay.
So 10 years old is really not any different than how it has been happening. I think, and what I talked about with some of the monitors, with the people that are working there on staff, was that it was sort of, some people were allowed in if they were 10, some people were not allowed in if they were 10. I think what we would like to do is make it 10, and of course that's always with the caveat that if you cannot follow the rules, you cannot behave. We have monitors on staff that are there to watch over these people. If you're not listening to the people who are there in a position of authority, then you're going to be asked to leave the facility. You'll be nicely asked to leave the facility, but you will be asked to leave the facility if you can't behave yourself. So I think that's kind of the caveat that we have. So I don't think this is anything different than what has been going on. I just want to make sure that whatever we make it, we are consistent with it, and we're going to stick to it. So if we say that the age to get into the facility is 12 years old, then that's it. Then everybody under 12, we're going to have to ask to leave, because that's the rule. If we say that it's 10 years old, then it's 10 years old. Everybody under 10 is going to be asked to leave. So I just want, to me, I just want to make sure that we're consistent with what we're doing for the community. I don't want it to be questioned.
Yeah.
Just make sure, and I'll get you a vote on that, but I would just make sure that our policies reflect any change if it's made today.
Well, one of the things that we are doing right now, I was talking with Guinevere Emery about signage and branding for the Lawrenceburg Community Center. So what we've done is we've changed a lot of our signs over to where we have the City of Lawrenceburg, City on the Rise logo on our signage now. But I am working with some of the local sign shops to get quotes on some additional signage that we need. Well, one of those pieces that we're going to need would have to do with the rules, and that is one of the rules that I need to have ironed out before I can move forward with actually getting that signage. Woodell?
I mean, I think what the mayor is asking would be something I would back, would be just to maybe check comps, like talk to all the YMCA's, why 10, why not 9, why not 8, why not 11, and then just, if we could talk to sites and talk to Mike Abden as well, and then whatever waivers you have, we take a look at them. But I mean, I don't care what the age is, but I think the mayor was saying maybe you've already done this and checked with other.
We have not checked with sites, we can do
YMCA
that.
Might be a good comp, because they are similar with those kind of services, both.
Now that, the community center's under the umbrella of the city insurance, it would probably be a good idea just to check with sites and say, hey, is there any issue with us moving this to 10 and versus 12? And Mike Abden can help facilitate you on that. That way you got, because he deals with them daily.
That would be great. For our piece, in order to move forward, is it okay to move it to 10 if that is appropriate to do according to the insurance? And then to move forward?
That's the motion I'll get you.
Okay.
How's that?
That'll work.
Yeah.
Thing about 10, which I'm in compliance with that. Say you got a problem child and you have to send him out. We got to make sure that their parents or somebody's there to get them. Because if we don't, and you just put them outside, then we could be in trouble there.
Really any young person,
Yeah.
probably,
Well,
we got
Well, yes, I mean, why, you know, where are they going when they're kicked out? How did they get there? Those would be questions you'd want to ask.
It's kind of a touchy subject because that age range, I mean, I was talking to Mr. Richardson about this, like, my 11-year-old daughter, she could have been there when she was 7. That was that responsible. But my 9-year-old son, he's just a little bit easier to be influenced. I mean, he's sharp, you know, everything's great, but it's just boys, I think, generally speaking, are not as mature usually as the
Come on
girls
now.
are. I mean, we all know that. Jenny's like, amen. But,
Does your wife make you say that today?
yeah, my wife put me up to that. But as we do that, like, I see the library, and as we frequent the library, there are kids that it almost becomes, you know, their parents drop them off, and they're young, really young, and almost, we don't want to obviously be a daycare, you know, and we have the monitors trained well enough to help manage the younger kids like that if they are there, you know, with themselves. So what if it's a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old, and an 8-year-old, you know, three siblings that are in there? I mean, that could be quite a bit to manage. So we, you know, and I know that we can invest that into our monitors to be able to understand how to handle that better. But that's a tricky age.
It is tricky, you're right.
So
Going back to what Mr. Fryman stated, though, you know, as you're saying, if you have an unruly, again, those parents have to sign something stating that they are allowing their child there at said age. So that would be a contact person that you would call basically what the school does at this time, correct?
Correct. We
So they
keep
would be-
all that contact information gets fed into an Excel spreadsheet, and that's where we keep that information. Hopefully, if we can move forward with the electronic cards, it would be even better, because at that point, if we've got them tapping in and tapping out, eventually we can have them update their information periodically, which is something that does not currently happen. So that is another issue that we've identified. If they're not updating their information, I don't know if I have appropriate information from so-and-so on file. So
That's a good point, because the school makes you do that every
Yes.
year,
Yes.
right? I know that. So then they have the update, okay, if so-and-so's supposed to ride this bus home, you know, and whatever. So, no, I think, and I'll phrase a motion here. I think what Mr. Richardson's asking for is, the approval to, move the, age for admittance into the community center to 10 years of age from 12 years of age. But he will do the legwork up front with the insurance agency to make sure that we are, you know, well within our guidelines.
Yeah, we'll make sure that it's in compliance with what the insurance guidelines are. And if the insurance guidelines say that it has to be older, then of course that's out of our hands at that point. We will make it what the insurance guideline says it needs to be.
Does that make sense? to you
Yep.
guys?
Contingent upon,
No,
yes.
yeah.
Contingent upon
Yep.
speaking with, Mr. Abbott and Ms. Site's insurance agent.
And then moving forward, I would like to get with Dell to talk about our current liability procedures that we do have in place.
Yeah, I think we can sit down with Debbie and Andy and Mike Abden, Debbie and Andy at Sites, and they're terrific because they have ideas about how we can protect ourselves. And you're right, Justin, I mean, now that the community center is part of the family, you know, we've got essentially the pool, the skating area, and the skating rink shown by Main Street, the community center. So we've got all these places where children may be unsupervised, so it'd be good to have it all be uniform and have Sites, you know, tell us what we need to do to protect ourselves. So we can do that pretty easily.
What I was thinking too, you know, you got your kids, if they go out, if they got a card to where they go to the pool, to the library, and they're over here at the convention center and things, if they have to swipe it. So if you send them out, say you got one you gotta send out for the day, because it's being kinda rowdy, well, I'm gonna go to the pool. If they swipe there, at least we'll have a trail where they're at, instead of just throwing them out. If the parent says, well, you're going to the pool,
Yeah, we may have some,
would that be a big deal there?
yeah.
Richard, is that something that could be connected with their phones and stuff? The card in their phone or something?
Well, I mean, we want to keep costs down, so we've identified some things that the city already has access to that we could utilize at the community center. I don't know if that software capability is there to do that. It very well possibly could be.
I'm just thinking back at school. I mean, kids have a hard time keeping track of cards, but they
Yeah.
know
You're
exactly where
correct.
their phones
You're
are
right.
at all the time.
Yeah, that would be good idea.
Yeah, they don't lose their phone, do they?
Our fob system, though, tracks who's in and out now. So if we could join up with that somehow. And you know, listen, it's like a library card. You're not checking out a library book without that library card. They're not gonna let you do it. So you don't enter into the community center unless you got your
Yeah.
pass.
And I think that's where that goes back to that, having a real point of contact in the community center that we don't have now.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
glad
that's
you're
what I'm
looking at
saying.
all that stuff.
You got your pass,
For,
but just
for
say if you go
everything.
to the pool,
Well,
you got your pass.
we're not, he doesn't, he's just advocating for this card reader at the community center. We're not in charge of everybody's kid walking around town.
I'm just
I
talking
don't
about
want
the 10.
that.
I'm just talking about the 10-year-olds and 11.
I know, but the thing is you're gonna then put card readers at
Multiple
coffee
places.
shops.
Yep.
You know, I'm just, I think we're opening up a whole nother can
Yeah.
of worms there. All we're trying to control is who comes in and who goes out. You know.
Yeah. And I like the consistency that he's talking about with the age,
That policy's
something
in
that
place.
we can manage a little bit better. And I'll make the motion.
You know,
That-
they take them home pool, the parents come in for
But if they leave the community center as a 10-year-old, it is
And then the weeds are-
responsibility, it would be the responsibility of the person that is the monitor or whatever to make sure they call that kid's guardian or person of contact.
Sorry, Justin. I-
And,
No,
you
that's
know,
all right.
and to say that too, if there are issues with any of the children at the community center, it's not just a blanket, you know, get out of here, we don't want to see you. You know, there's,
Right.
there'll be procedures. They need to speak to somebody before they're made to leave the facility. We need to figure out where they're going. Why did they get kicked out? You know, there was an issue before I got over there, maybe a week before, where there was a young girl lighting something on fire in the bathroom. Now, of course, that was a major issue, so that had to be taken care of immediately. Michelle Woodruff was there as the night manager during this particular situation. She took the child to the side, talked to her about it, and then ended up contacting that child's custodial party. She had a conversation with them, basically told her that she wouldn't be allowed to come back to the community center for a period of time. So there are procedures in place when things happen. So it wouldn't just be throwing them out into the cold.
I think what Lenny was talking about, that some 10-year-old comes in and we know they're in the facility, well, then they decide, hey, I'm leaving, I wanna go to the pool. Okay, well, I think if we have that point of contact at the front of the building, that keeps that from happening, because once they're in, it's our responsibility. It falls under us as a center.
Correct.
And we can't just let these young kids come and go out of that facility. Just can't happen on their own.
How do we control that? If we have if it's, the guideline is 10, then any 10-year-old would be able to come and go as they please.
No, come in.
I mean, what's gonna,
No, just hear me out. I might be wrong.
Sure.
But if my 10-year-old, I don't have a 10-year-old anymore, thank goodness.
10-year-old
You guys get to deal
your
with that.
10-year-old grandchild,
The 10-year-old grandson. It goes into the community center, and we have this card reader thing in place. I'm hypothetical here. You guys can convince me otherwise. But you scan this, right? Well, once they're in, it's our responsibility. That's why we have them there. We got all their information there. We know this is a 10-year-old boy, or that, okay, here's their contact, you know, here's grandma's number to call, you know, if any problem. If this 10-year-old, or whatever, I mean, decides to leave the facility on his own, who do you think grandma or mom and dad is gonna wanna know why you didn't, you know, you let this person into your facility? I mean, I don't know. I
So
don't
you're
know
saying
what-
when
Well,
they
that's-
exit, that's your concern?
if they go out without an adult. Because right now, the way we say that, you know, if you have supervision, you can come in, right?
Correct.
If they're under 12.
If they're under 12.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's
There's a
the
big difference between 12-year-old and 10-year-old.
huge. I
Yes.
agree.
Real big.
So, I mean, what I'm saying is if we're gonna say they don't have to have supervision at 10 years old to come in,
But they have to have supervision to leave.
I mean, that just doesn't seem consistent.
Well, how are you gonna,
It's,
what are we gonna do?
I agree with the problem that it
But what
brings.
are we gonna do when that 10-year-old goes outside and, God forbid,
It
gets
sounds
hit by a
like-
car in the parking lot?
Seriously, no, we have to talk about it.
They're gonna say, well, you weren't keeping an eye on my kid?
Let's talk to the insurance.
well, see, it
guy.
sounds like you're leaning to me, you know, with the conversation that I'm hearing, that you're leaning toward it staying 12, which is fine too,
I'm all in favor of
but you're
lowering.
raising good questions. I mean, these are
I'm just worried
obviously
about
good
what
questions.
happens when that 10-year-old decides that, you know, I don't know. I don't
Well,
know.
we could set it, we could have it just like you said.
Conversation.
If the kids come in there and they let them in at 10, before that kid can go out, his parents or somebody has to be there to let them go. Then when they go out, it takes it off of us.
Yeah, but there's no way to keep them in. We don't have security there.
It's that point of contact
I
that
think
we lack
need to
at
have
the
this
front.
conversation with our insurance company. We need to have data. We can't just pick a number. You know, we need to have data to back the decision we're gonna make. And we need to talk to the insurance company, and we need to take all these things into consideration. I think just voting to change it to 10 without doing that first, just everyone has a lot of questions and good questions.
Yep.
I don't know if it's the best thing to just go ahead and do it right now.
What's the policy for a 12-year-old? Can a 12-year-old enter, leave anytime he
12-year-old
wants
can
to?
enter and leave anytime they want.
Okay.
Well, and I think the only reason that it's any of the time element that is for the signage, right? Is that why you're for the rules?
Well, correct, yes.
Okay. So, I mean, I don't know if there's a way to still have the rules made and we continue this discussion, because I would.
We
'cause I-
could continue the discussion with that. You know,
Right.
at this point, it's more of a concern for the child itself. So, I mean,
Yeah.
we can not worry about that particular piece of signage right now. That would be a secondary concern anyway, when it comes to child safety. So.
And I think that we could even do it as a kind of a pilot to see how is this working out? Is this something that we have the capacity to manage? You know, being able to check these kids out as they're leaving, and if we don't, then we could bring it back to 12, or maybe we just keep it at 12 and we do a pilot to 10-year-olds, and we allow that. And if it works out really well, then we have the signage that would allow it to be 10.
Yeah, Dale's right. I mean, we have contacts at Sites Insurance. We should utilize those and find out what would be the market reality for what we're dealing with and move forward with that. But yeah, as of right now, we'll just.
Volunteered himself to be on that committee.
PBP, Justin. PBP.
I think you two and Mike Abden and Sites,
Figure it out.
they'd have tons of good, information.
I got 3 little guinea pigs we could use.
Yeah. Well, and you guys all know this already, but I mean, remember, the kids in our community are at the library, the pool, the skating rink, the community center, because they have to be. And we want to be safe and protect ourselves. We want to make it open. The community center is there for these kids. And I mean, I grew up, me and BJ Hutchinson used to just stay outside until, walk around downtown until it was dark, and then we'd go inside and have dinner. I mean, and there are kids that maybe if there's behavior that's affecting other kids, that obviously has to be addressed, but this can be a resource for people that don't have anywhere to go. Maybe their parents are working till 8 or 9 at night and they're by themselves. They don't have access to a computer, so there's so many possibilities of good.
I think that was the idea of letting some of the 10-year-olds in, even though it was against policy and it was against rule. However, when I look at it as being the director of the community center, whatever our policy is, that's what we have to abide by for everybody across the board. So I don't want there to be any,
Gray
to me,
area.
it's not a
We're
gray
here
area
saying
because if it's
they're
on a
not
sign
kidding,
and that's
then
what the
they're gonna
rule
be together
says.
again.
No, that's true.
It's minute, it may be a 1%, and then, they get out one time, then you let them back in, they'll straighten up.
Well, me and little Lenny would have gotten kicked out.
Oh, you guys all the
We'll
time.
have to come back and
Lenny
please
still
listen.
picked
I'd be
that.
interested to hear what sites has to say about it, because I'm sure they have a lot more knowledgeable input than any of us would.
Mr.
Oh,
Mayor,
no
would a
doubt.
proper motion be that we give Richard the authority to go to sites and then develop a committee to discuss this and come with a recommendation at a future meeting? Is that what
Well, I don't even know if you need to make a
I
motion.
don't think we need one
Okay,
for that.
all right,
I would say, just do it.
okay.
Whatever, listen, I don't think anybody's against moving it down to 10.
No,
It doesn't sound like it.
I'm not.
But I think we just need to make sure that, I just think there's a big difference between 10 and 12, age-wise.
I agree.
That's my opinion.
There is, yeah.
But I
absolutely.
think that we can, if there's a way we can make it happen, let's make it happen.
Is there some way that when, I don't think we have to be as concerned when the kids walk in, but when they walk out, there's some way we can check them, hey, have you called your parents to let them know that you're
That would
leaving?
be the concern.
To make the check out.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what sites will say,
Yeah,
you know?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that would go back to where, what
talking.
paperwork they fill out, that parent or guardian understands that. As you stated, if they leave, someone has to be there. I know when I used to drop my kids off, they knew I was coming back to get them. Now, when I was young, we ran around to take some duck call.
Yeah, we just
If
ran
we
in.
got in trouble, it was home before we got home, so we knew better,
Yep. We walked in, walked out all day long.
all day long.
If you got in trouble, your parents
Times
knew.
have changed, and we
Yep.
all know that
Yep.
there's that liability aspect of it.
But we're still that city, right? I mean, we're still that city where everyone
Yeah.
knows each other, loves each other. I mean, we can bring that back. That's what the community center can be.
I think that's everybody's vision here, that's for sure.
Yep.
I'm glad you're looking at these things, Richard. I really am.
Somebody asked me something. Am I hearing stuff?
You're hearing stuff.
That's
I need to fix your
Yeah.
hair a little bit, it's getting a little long.
in my ears. Is what you're
Okay.
saying.
All right, so
Yep.
as soon as you can get that, I think then you come back and give these guys an update and make it happen.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds good.
First meeting in the month's parks,
What's that?
first meeting in the month for next month is parks.
It is. We'll be on it. I'll
Thanks for all
look
your
that up
hard
and get
work.
that information.
Yes,
Thank
greatly
Great
appreciate
start
it.
down there, man.
Thanks for
We
jumping
appreciate
in.
that.
Did a
Thank
lot
you.
of research.
Mario?
Thanks, everybody. I
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks
it.
for-
Center on the
Anything
rise.
over there?
Richard.
Do you have any update on over there? Hey, along with parks, I don't know if Mr. Todd had any update on the park over at Art Street?
Looks like someone stole all the equipment.
The equipment has all been removed. Of course, we're on snow delay right now.
Right.
We've got 3 truckloads of equipment sitting right now in Alabama, waiting to come this way. So hopefully here in the next week or so, we'll get a shipment. We're going to contact Hollywood, see if we can use that gravel lot adjacent to the park there for a laydown area. I mean, everybody's ready, but right now it's just weather. We're going to need probably about a week and a half of our prep with our people to excavate and clean the site.
Mario, who has that old equipment?
Aurora.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
I hear it's gonna be 50 next Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, the only problem with 50 degrees and ice is mud.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
time. It's gonna be a mess.
Well, maybe the ice rink will melt. It's still froze.
Okay, great, thank you. Thank you.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay. That was a long discussion, man.
Heck,
And Mr. Fryman, you don't ever have to apologize for questioning things. That's why we're here. You know what I mean?
What I
Communication. No, when you apologize to Mr. Noppert because
Well,
you were speaking
I
with the
kinda
mayor.
cut him off, he was talking.
And that's
I kinda
understandable,
That's
but at
okay.
least you're asking questions.
snapped. It was his fault.
I tell you what, I'd blame it
Honestly,
on
he was the one
Chief
doing the talking.
Executive, yes.
I thought it was a good thought by Lenny to have one universal card, that all truck kids can use, and it might be something we could. I thought it was a good
I
idea.
think that's what the country's going to do
Yeah.
We're not gonna chip everybody. Except for Lenny.
I'm not getting
We'll
a chip.
Lenny.
now. I'm
Now
not
you
getting a
won't have
chip, Bill.
currency in your
Yeah.
pocket, you'll be using the card for everything. You know already.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, where are we at? Oh, fire department, Tom
Nothing to
Roulette.
report, Mayor.
Justin took all of our time.
Not got very far.
Is that all farther we are?
Yep.
Yeah, hey, I do have a couple of updates I gotta give. The shelter update, we've had anywhere from 3 to 5 people utilizing it over the last couple weeks, I guess. In light of the weather gonna be changing pretty dramatically, starting Monday, we are gonna close the shelter down starting at 8 a.m. Monday morning. And we'll get it all cleaned back up and everything. Boy Scouts are wondering when they can start using it again too. But it looks like it's gonna be in the 40s and 50s for the next foreseeable future. I wanna, once again, number one, thank you guys for allowing us to make it happen. Number two, Our staff did a really nice job. We also had police presence there overnight. Guinevere I had asked her to contact people like SEIOC to stop over and do some interviews to see how they can help some of the people. It's been very well received. The public has been dynamite with donations and wanting to help, and we just couldn't even use everybody's help. I mean, it was that enormous of a response. So just want to let everybody know that and it'll go out on social media today that we're going to shut it down as of 8 a.m. Monday morning. And so hopefully, this will give the folks that are still there, I think there's maybe 3, an opportunity to find some additional or some alternative housing. And we have resources that have been trying to help as well for them. Just want to make you guys aware, March 11th, 12th is the retreat. We got a lot of great, I think, topics to talk that'll get more discussions like today going, and I think it's good to be able to do that, because you never know what might spew off from that, because, maybe the idea Lenny had, and I know it's hard for me to admit this, might be a good idea for the universal card or whatever, as long as we're not chipping people. But, that's where these conversations go, right? And that you guys have got great ideas, and you're always looking at what's best for the community.
Now, I'd like to elaborate before you get too far here, Mayor. I went over to the homeless shelter, and I was over twice, and the people that was there, they couldn't thank us enough for what we done and for what the people over there helping them done, and they said that was really nice, and I commend you for that.
Not me, you guys.
Well, I commend all
Team
of us, I
effort.
should say.
Team effort.
Yeah.
Team effort.
But it was really, they really was happy to get off the street.
Yes. The last thing I was going to bring up, thank you. I was going to bring up, but Justin and Richard took most of it. Community center and adult center. A lot of great opportunities here, guys, and I think we're already starting to hear some of it. But you'll start hearing more about the adult center as well.
Yes.
And Tommy and Brett are on that board as well. They got a lot of good things going. They've already gotten a couple grants.
Yes, they have.
And they're being very, very proactive. So, they're wanting to work with us. They were some of the people that were volunteering over at the shelter as well.
Yeah,
So
kind of the same core over there.
good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and then even,
It's a great opportunity for the community center and the adult center to work together. And I think it's going to happen.
I think going along with this, just even the private companies and the private sector and seeing people get involved, that's really encouraging. The blessing basket that, a lot of them that are involved in the Dearborn Adult Center. I mean, these are the kind of things that I love to see happen, but also it's great that the government doesn't have to be involved.
Right.
That we see people that are highly competent at doing it, we can get behind them and support them and encourage them, and they're coming together and it's happening. And that's the community I believe all of us want to see built here. And as we're coming together, working together, collaborating, I think it's just, the future's bright.
No, I agree. It was a good response. Yep, it really was.
It's kind of like a city that's
all the time
on the
when we
rise,
do-
right?
What's that? What'd you
It's like a city on the rise.
Good plug. Okay.
Hashtag
With
city on the
that said, all right, entertain a motion then, if no other announcements? I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Go move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New business, Mr. Weldon, Stormwater Grant Fund Ordinance.
Thank you, Your Honor. If it pleases the Common Council for the City of Lawrenceburg, what you have in your packets is a proposed ordinance. Do we have a number, Mr. Petty?
Number 3.
Number 3-2021, which is titled an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Lawrenceburg creating the Dowdy Road Stormwater Grant Fund. So we've been awarded a stormwater grant by Okra, and those funds come from HUD, so those are federal funded dollars. And so this ordinance creates a fund to house those monies and be in compliance with Okra's regulations as well as the regulations regarding federal money.
Okay, I got one thing to add, and I didn't get to say this or bring it up to Dell before today either. We found out over the last week or so that the 600,000 is based upon us contributing 907,000. Okay. But with that said, I go back to when Mr. Clark was here, and he had told me that there was stuff that they had put into this project, and got Mario here and John as well, but that was put into this project that necessarily really didn't need to be done. It was more of a want. So we are working with the structure point people. In fact, they were going to come down and meet with us to go over what those are, because really what I'm saying is the 600,000 may go down a little bit based upon the proportion of what we are going to contribute. Okay, so the project may go from 1.5 million to $1 million, but the 600,000 may go down to 450. If I said that right.
Correct, and adding to that, we're talking about the dry side and the wet side, which would be the Tanner's Creek side. Permitting on the wet side could be up to 6 to 8 months. So in value engineering down, as he said, some of the needs and wants, we stay on the dry side, we may be able to get that cut in half on that permitting time.
But I thought we really needed it done on the wet side, that gate. That's been causing us a lot of problems.
Well, the interior gate on the dry side is probably the biggest problem. It will not close completely, and we need a new gasket seal on that.
The want was to replace the gate on the wet side.
Yeah, and have access walkway down to that. I mean, right now, we've kind of got to go through some brush and things of that nature, but high water doesn't matter because you still have water to go through. So again, that was kind of a want to be able to access that a little cleaner.
The one on the wet side, was that like a flapper valve?
There is a flapper over there, yes, and they were redesigning some of that technology also, yeah.
So if that's not working, if something goes through there, will that damage the inner
Now,
gate?
the main concern is, and believe it or not, the gate on the dry side, according to our experts, it'd be like putting a vault gate on a swinging gate at your house. It's over-designed. So we need to actually make the proper adaptation to what we have there to make it sealed up. You know, it's kind of like have the wrong garage door at the wrong garage, and that's what we need to fix.
I mean, essentially, the wet gate's just secondary protection.
Correct.
Keeping it from getting to the dry gate.
Correct. There's two different operations there, yeah.
But it's not bad, it really doesn't need to be replaced? Is that what
Well,
you're
I mean,
saying?
eventually, it's going to need replaced, but at this time, I mean, it's not going to flood the interior. The big protection is that interior gate there on the dry side, and the pumps. You remember, we're going to do a backup system as far as a standby generator, and some other, it's not flood protection. I don't want anybody to get confused and think it's flood proofing. It's stormwater. And the trick is to get,
Like a big sump pump.
yes, it's to get the water out before it creates damage. Yeah.
But if this is imminent, why wouldn't we, as we're doing the project, I mean, maybe not do the stairs, why wouldn't we consider maybe doing the wet side gate? I mean,
Well, that's what we're gonna have Structure Point tell us, is
Okay.
Yeah.
what is absolutely needed.
Yeah.
What were I just remember Mr. Clark, when we applied for this, said, hey, we built in some things that really doesn't need to be done, but if we can get it, and if we got the money, we could go ahead and do it.
Right. Yeah, if we had the full dollar amount, we would
yeah.
do it. But again, that permitting, and not say that we're not going to get the permitting done in 6 to 8 months, there could always be a wrench thrown into that even, since it's on that wet side.
So the extra stuff that he's talking that we need down there, the big deal, we don't want that to flood again, if we can keep from it.
All right.
The needs, we're gonna take care of.
But keep in mind, this is not flood control, and I don't want anybody to,
No, but we don't want to happen, what happened last time again, if we can keep from it.
all right,
That's what we
Back
want.
in
We want the
1997.
merchants to be,
correct.
feel like they're not gonna, well, am I gonna lose my business tomorrow? We don't want that.
Well, knock on wood, since we put that pump station in there since '97, we've been lucky. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't, I mean, anything can flood.
Sure,
Yeah.
So
We've
what-
been lucky, or we just good?
both. Lucky, we're good and lucky.
When is Structure Point coming? When will we have like a better ballpark figure on this, what we're looking at?
Well, it'll be, I don't know, they haven't set the time. for
Okay.
it.
I didn't know if there was already a date set or anything.
Well, I've already reached out to him, and I told him, the person that's working the project, see Cindy Fort is no longer there. She retired.
Retired, yeah. Yeah.
She retired, so her replacement is who we're gonna be speaking with, and he or she has
He,
been very, involved in this whole thing. So, but I just wanna hear from them, and then we'll come back and we'll share it with you.
And Your Honor, even given that, we could still pass
Okay to
this
do-
and, yes,
okay.
sir.
Good.
So
I just didn't want the 600,000 to be a set in stone number in case
Right.
something
It's
went
understandable.
lower. And listen, if they come back and say, hey, we really need, then we're just gonna have to find the money. I get that, but I just always, I remember what, the conversation I had with Mr. Just wanted to let you guys know.
All right.
Okay. All right, any other questions regarding this before I ask for a motion? Okay, I'd entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 3-2021, which is an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Lawrenceburg creating the Dowdy Road Stormwater Grant Fund. And I would say that we will approve this today based upon if we have a unanimous vote.
Yep. So moved, Your Honor.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, guys.
I have one more item under new business.
Yep.
That just came up yesterday, and Mr. Johnson is here, so the school, they're doing a renovation project. They've asked us to consider waiving the permitting fees, and I wanted to just bring this up, and then we could approve it or reject it at the last meeting. Are we legally allowed to waive those fees?
I just got a verbal from Mr. Blondell on that on February 2nd. I'd have to refer back to you, I guess.
Okay.
Now, we are bound by the code. The fee schedule sets the fees.
What did Mr. Blondell say about whether or not we could do it?
Mr. Blondell just said I can't do it in the office.
Okay. Did he say the city could not, or just you could not?
It's just a real quick discussion about me not being able to do it.
Okay.
I believe I think we've done it before council votes to waive the fees, because council does set the fee schedule.
Okay, but Mr. Blondell gave you a legal opinion that we could not do it?
Give me a verbal opinion that I couldn't do it in the office.
Him personally.
Personally,
Okay.
me personally, yeah.
Yes.
We were going over,
Right.
we were going over
following.
110 Walnut Street, because it is city property, so it's not bound by the code. And I said, well, school wants to do this, I can't do it. Is that correct? He says, yes.
Okay.
But is the board allowed to do it?
Right.
You guys
And that board being the city
The
council.
council.
You guys can do anything that they want, right, Doug?
Yeah. I mean,
Watch how you answer that.
Yeah, Dale.
Watch how
Take
you
it
answer
easy
that.
there, Mayor.
And that's why I told Mr.
Well,
Daly,
I don't wanna
I told
override-
Mr.
I
Daly,
wasn't
I
gonna give
can't
you
waive
that
the fees.
I don't want to override a legal opinion that you got.
Like I said, that's just a verbal.
Same for
That was me in the
his
office.
That's for him personally.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
this governing body here that could say yea or nay, is what I'm understanding.
And if
Mr. Johnson.
there's an IC issue, if there's an Indiana code issue with us doing that, could we donate the money for the,
Was it Indiana code or an ordinance?
I'm just looking at my code, chapter 154,
Yeah,
What
it's
was the
indicated.
legal opinion based on?
discussion in the office.
I mean, what law was it based on?
I don't think they got that far.
The only thing we've got that is set by that office is the site plan review fee.
What are the fees that they would have to pay? That they would
They'll
like-
be, they need to do a demo rehab permit, which is 150, and the initial commercial ILP, which will be based on their square footage of their addition.
Will you gather all the fees that they might have to pay and then we can bring
I
it to the
called
next
them
meeting?
yesterday and asked them if they'd go and submit their applications. They're not ready to submit applications yet, so we don't even know what the fees are going to be.
Well,
I mean, I can get a
whatever you would anticipate.
basic, it'd be under $1,000.
Okay, and
Yeah.
just bring those maybe to the next meeting and then
Yeah.
you guys can vote to waive them or not.
Well, would you look into it to see if
Yeah.
we're, if the
And I'd
board's
like to
allowed?
say
'Cause
once
I'm
again,
not-
that wasn't an official,
I'm not
I guess
sure
it wasn't a
he's
legal
saying that
opinion,
the
it was just
board's
discussion in the
allowed
office
to
between me
do
and Blondell, stating I can't waive those fees.
I'm sure Tom's looked into it. Okay.
I'll
I
have
gave him a
ready
pretty
for the
big
next
list when I
meeting.
met with him, and we did miss a meeting on the 17th, so he couldn't give me an update.
And that's what I was saying, if we can't buy Indiana code, can we donate it from another fund to the office? I mean, obviously it's a ledger transfer for us, but
Well,
just to be legal.
My honest opinion, I would, if we can't waive it, which I can't understand why we wouldn't be able to waive it, but I'm not the attorney, he is. But the thing is, they'll have to find the money. They do pretty well from the city. Yes. I mean, I'm not trying to be a stickler here, but start doing it for them, you're gonna have to do it for everybody else as far as the. Good point.
Right.
That's my opinion. But let's see what comes back. I think I'm assuming you guys can waive it. You're the governing body.
Well, I'm like you, that if you do it for one, you gotta do it for all.
Well,
Right.
and
But this isn't not a business. This is our school.
yeah.
This
I
is our
agree.
school
You
system.
start
I agree,
waiving
but I
fees.
mean, as far as handing more money over.
And
I
what
would
we
be
look
more
back
against
at-
that than just approving that you guys be able to waive it.
And what we covered, like I said, I was talking to Mr. Blondell about a city-owned property.
Yeah.
City-owned or controlled properties are not bound by the code.
Right.
So they're not bound by the fee schedule. And that was the point we made in the office.
But did you tell Superintendent Gailey that we were not legally permitted to waive the fees?
I told him I'd check with legal, and I can't waive the fees.
But did you tell him that we were not legally permitted to waive the fees? Did you send him an email yesterday?
I didn't say we weren't legally permitted to waive the fees. I have to see what the email says, but if that was incorrect, I will gladly call him and correct it.
That's okay. Take care of it.
Okay.
Okey dokey.
All right, thanks, guys.
We'll get that.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Okay, I got one thing that was added to me, just an approval for an event downtown. The Lawrenceburg Hill Run that always happens the same weekend as Father's Day weekend. It's on the same day as our Taste of Summer event. Just asking permission for that date to be used again this year. They know that Old State Route 48 will still be closed at that time, so they'll have to use a different
Route.
venue, and he's already looking at that, Mr. Kaniga. But I told him I'd bring it up to get you guys' approval for them to hold the event, because it starts downtown here early morning, and that's on June the 19th. Any questions? I apologize, it wasn't on the agenda, but he just called me yesterday.
Do you need a motion for that?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
entertain a motion to
Yeah.
approve the Lawrenceburg Hill Run for June the 19th in downtown Lawrence.
So moved.
Second? Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anybody got anything else, new or old business?
Let me think. Something we can hold us over for a little bit.
we'll-
You buying lunch, aren't you, Mayor?
Well, if you're gonna
How
think
about if we
that,
get, how about if we get
that long.
Lenny has something to sit on there, new chair, looks like he's sitting on the floor.
Well, he can raise it.
Somebody keeps messing with my chair or moving it.
Can we
I don't
move
know
on,
which
please?
one of you all are doing it.
You can raise that.
But it's, the padding's gone in it, and I know it, don't you say a word.
Got a brand new one right here.
You're a head lower than everybody else there, Lenny.
Oh, man.
He just shrunk. He's getting older, he's shrinking.
You want to see it from this level?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to look big in here.
Yeah. We got any comments from the audience
All you
out
have to do
there?
now, Lenny, is put your hands up like this.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Well, you guys are jumping on that
Damn.
adjournment, aren't you?
All those in favor?
Hey, I always like to say it's over.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, guys.
Signatures.
Signatures.
I thought Michelle maybe with the annual report in here might have been